Welcome. The purpose of this video is to identify the key 20 issues of CIMA Strategic Level Case Study, August 2018. I am Gajendra Lianarachi from a4study.com. Let's look at the case and the details. The case study is Finch News Group. The company was founded in 1880 by Ellie Finch. When was the company founded? Very good, 1880. Still, it is run as a family business where the founding family owns 60%. So throughout these generations, the company maintained the same family values, and still our core business is printing newspapers. I repeat, printing newspapers even in this era. So throughout these 100 plus years, the company mainly focused on local newspapers. What is a local newspaper? I'm sure most of you all who are very young are not interested in local newspapers. That's right. That was the nature of the world in 1880 and even in the early parts of the 20th century, and even now in some countries, especially the people who are in the old school like me, like to look at local news. Of course, I like to look at both, but in general, people like local news. That was the trend those days. Basic life. People were happy, not like these days. Self-sufficient economies. You went to local school, local butcher, local vegetable market, local festival, local friends. Enjoy life. Now, nothing is local. You get your mobile phone in the morning, what do you see? Oh, Lionel Messi failed to score. Ronaldo is out now. That's the news we like. But sadly, the company never changed. Still have the same structure, same printing method. And when did they do the last acquisition? Very good, 1992. Meaning, for the last 26 years, they did nothing. Let's look at the 20 key issues and how this will be tested in your exam. Issue number 1, you know it what? Good, leadership. Clearly this will be tested. We have a massive problem on leadership. If you look at the annual report, if you look at the statement of Chief Executive Officer, what they are talking is, they are continuing the same thing. The company is declining. Nobody is going to read local news anymore, and nobody is going to read print news anymore. Go in the train, you know, in the public transport, go to a hospital, go to a school, go to a mall. What do you see? What's the most important thing with people? Not the grocery, not what they buy. Oh yes, that's a mobile phone. Everything is online, but sadly the company never changed. Still, the chairman and the chief operating officer is from the founding family. Founding family owns 60%. They just do the same thing. Remember, successful parents not necessarily produce successful children. You can see it in business, in politics, everywhere in the world. Somebody starts a business with determination and guts from nothing. But what happens? Their children, when they were born, the business is so large. Mercedes, Benz, Rolls Royce, you name it. Children go to school in a Mercedes Benz. Meaning what? Nothing wrong with that. But they don't have what? Very important. The burning desire to become successful. I repeat, the burning desire. Why? You know about wealth. You have wealthy friends. You have no desire. You have all the money in the world. What happens? Over the generations, the second, third and fourth generation suddenly realize they are struggling because their parents has never seen the determination in their eyes. Everywhere it's like that. Take a country, take history, take the ruling. Why did some countries invade other countries? Due to so many reasons, but the main thing, they see a weaker ruler. I repeat, moment the ruler becomes weak, there's an invasion. Meaning what? Father was a powerful king, but not the son. But you assume that the king has to be from the bloodline. Oh yes, it has to be, but some are very weak. That's the problem with family business. They never realize that they are not better than some of the others in the market. So what's our solution for this problem? Very simple. We need a new CEO. But he's not a family member. He should not be thinking, looking at the picture of whom? Your great-great-grandfather who started the business. Now, you can't sit on your posh chair and look at the grandfather's picture and say, this is my business. Sorry, mate. Bye-bye. We need a person, a CEO who's dynamic, who's driven by what? Targets and passion. You give him 5-year target. You give him share option scheme. That's it. If you don't perform, bye-bye. Nothing to do with your family. You have nothing personal. It's do or die. Let's come to issue number 2. Financial management. Company is struggling. Clear decline. Company was struggling for the last 5 years. Sadly, people did nothing. This is a problem with family business. They don't see it. They talk about history. They talk about heritage. They talk about the past. But they never look at the future, and they're blind. Remember, past success doesn't mean future is successful. Never. Future will only be successful if you innovate and if you invest. I repeat, innovate and investment. So financial management, we are really poor. What's our net profit margin? Very good, 0.3%. Can you believe it? Our net profit is 0.3%. Meaning, will anybody do a business to get a net profit less than 1%? No. Chapter close. But what's the key issue? If you look at the P&L, you would see that. Very good. Operating cost. Operating cost is 32% of revenue. What's our gross profit margin? 33%. So our operating profit is 1%. Not enough. Clearly, examiner would like you to develop measures to reduce what? Very good. What's operating cost margin? 32%. Reduce it by 10%. You see miracles. Develop new strategies to reduce the operating cost. And the financial management is the key. If you don't do that, next year, mark my words, the company will face a loss. You still have 6 months to go. Make sure you take a radical strategy to minimize your loss and move forward. How do you move forward? Reduce operating cost. Issue number 3 is IT strategy. I mentioned earlier, the company has never changed. Out of that, still they focus on print advertising. Look at the market. Walk, open your eyes. How many do you see in a train reading print newspaper? Never happened. Never happens now. People are in the mobile phone. Meaning, digital is the key, and that's the way forward. Sadly, this company is blind. How many digital subscribers or readers does the company have? Good. 10 million. We have 10 million digital readership, but we are doing nothing. Do you have IT director? No, we don't. You see, we have IT manager. Where is he located? He's under finance. Sad story. A lot of companies think IT is just something on the internet. No, it's not. Information is the superhighway. Information is the future. We need IT to develop a strategic competitive advantage. What's come to your mind? Good. McFarlane grid that will be tested. Go through that, and please remember, our current strategy is IT as just an operation. You must change it. IT should be the future, and that's the way it should be. Remember that, and recommend McFarlane grid, turnaround or strategic. IT has to be a key weapon in our future, and in the next 10 years, nobody will read physical newspapers. Right. Issue number 4 is operations. As I mentioned earlier, the company still operate with the traditional printing mechanism and the system. Can you believe it? How many? When was the company started? 1880. They still have editorial process with a local journalist who submit to a rewrite journalist, to design editor, to the other editor, you name it, and then it goes to the dummy. You prepare a dummy, then print it. By the time your newspaper comes, you're outdated. How do we see news now? Get into Facebook. Somebody shares something. Okay, Germany is out from the World Cup. How do you know that? Did you see it in the newspaper? No. You saw it on Facebook, or saw it on Twitter, or somebody SMS'd you. That's the way forward. We need to simplify the operations. In the present context, there are 6 questions in the editorial process. My friend, there's no questions to be asked. Get the news, audit it, publish it, current. The core competence now is on speed, nothing else. What is the most important thing in news now? Speed. Very important. What will come to your mind now? Good. Value chain, Michael Porter will be tested. This company has both the characteristics of a service organization and manufacturing. So you have to mix the value chain. The most important thing is the what? Primary activity will be tested. Go through your studies on E3 on that. Issue number 5, initial public offer. Now or never, it's on the cards. IPO. The current shareholders, 60% owned by the family, 40% owned by whom? Unknown. That's a mystery. CIMA examiners give mysteries throughout the history. You will be a new owner in the case study, or somebody wants to buy the company. We have no choice. Our equity is only 35 million. Our shareholders, the share capital is only 20 million. We hardly pay dividend. Dividend is declining over the years. Time has come. We need new capital, and we need change of ownership, and most importantly, we need a direction. So IPO is the future. I'm surprised. So many years, for more than 130 years, the company is still operated by the same family. What's the clue? Successful parents might not produce. Good. successful children. So the time has come over a generations. Even if the children are successful, they need to forget the father's wealth and focus on the market and competition. Issue number 6, CSR and ethics. The company has identified 4 areas of CSR on business ethics, employees, community, and ISO 14001 environmental standard. Good. I'm happy with their process, but still they need to improve their ethics. Very important, this area is tested. What is ethics for this? The news. Whether the news is too sensitive. You see, most of the time the newspaper editors get into trouble. They get lawsuits. They get sued by people because they publish things what they feel, but it is interpreted by others in a different way. So you have to be very careful, especially with the digital media. Whatever the news you publish can be really sensitive. Remember, it's not like the traditional paper. You read something, I don't think that's true. You forget about it. It's gone. Whereas the newspaper, somebody put it in the bin. Your child has turned it up. But now it's not like that. You get angry by looking at news. You immediately comment on that, and suddenly next day morning you get up. You see 1,500 people have liked it, another 48 people has commented, and one person has decided to sue the company. That's how it is. So remember, CSR will be tested. Don't forget the triple bottom line. What's that? People, profit and planet, and global reporting initiative. And don't forget CIMA ethics. 5 areas will be tested. More important, why? It's not your local anymore. The company thinks it's local. The people in the town will read the paper, and next day they come for the paper again. No, they don't. They never come. They read the news on the mobile and they sue you. That's it. Issue number 7 is risk management. Very important area. The company was there for more than 100 years. They have never managed their risk. And there are so many issues to consider. But the company has identified 6 areas of managing risk. Very good. I'm very happy with the areas including revenue to cost reduction. But they have failed to identify the most important issue. What is the highest risk? What do you think? If you're publishing a newspaper, what's the highest risk? Yes, social needs, or the demographics, or the social habits of people. Consumption is the thing. People change rapidly these days. You don't have long-term planning. I mean, when I studied management long time back, we learned short term is 1 year, medium term is 3 to 5, long term is more than 5. Well, that's ages. By now I'm a dinosaur. Now the short term is now, medium term is tomorrow, and long term is maybe 1 week. Game over. You get news like this. You get information overload. You don't know what's required. So that's why you need to change the risk management process. You need to introduce additional risk like what? Social change, technological change, and competition. Plus, is there a person to manage the risk in this company? No, they don't. We don't even have internal audit. Recommend in the exam to appoint internal audit and appoint a person to manage the risk formally. Risk management is a specialized process. Very, very important. Issue number 8 is revenue analysis. You would see in the case the revenue has declined. Even if you have not seen the case, you know by now by listening to me, the family business has never been successful and they are declining. Obviously, it happens to every business. But now the company has identified 4 types of revenue. What are the 4 types? Print newspaper sales account to 25% of revenue. I repeat, 25% of revenue from print newspaper sales, 53% of revenue from print advertising sales. So total 78% of the revenue still derived from printing a newspaper. I repeat, printing a newspaper. Digital advertising revenue is 15%. We don't charge the customers, no subscription, no paywall, but we get income because we give free news and 10 million people get into our websites and advertisers. You have seen when you go to a free website, you get these banners and blogs. So that's where we get how much? 15%. Where's the remaining 7% from? Good. We get the remaining 7% from contract printing. Very, very important. That is a key area which you need to build. What do you mean by contract printing? That means we print for other parties. We have first class printing facility. So we need to focus on that. What is the area examiner will test here? Yes, examiner will focus mainly on what? New forms of revenue generation, because the traditional print business is declining. So please be prepared to recommend digital revenue, new forms of revenue, enhance the revenue from printing. You can recommend at the moment it's 7%. Maybe in the next 5 years, increase the printing revenue from 7% to 20%. Makes sense? Who are you? Senior Finance Manager. That is important in business. Always be prepared to take a new initiative. Issue number 9 is the structure. If you look at the current structure, it's a mixed structure. We call it mixed structure. The company has functional element and the regional element connected. So it looks like a matrix, but it's not a perfect matrix. If you look at the structure, you see a problem. What's that? We have 5 regional managers under whom? Chief Operating Officer. Is there a problem? No, but yes. Why? Other directors has nothing to do with the regions. I repeat, the present structure has functional directors and you have the Chief Operating Officer and 5 regions under him. What's the problem? The other functions are not connected. Recommend a matrix, a more formal matrix where put the regions to a side. So 5 regions, and 5 regions account for 30 managed officers in major cities, and they have 40 newspaper titles. So get the regions on this side, get all the functions on here, so that each functional director connects with each region. Remember, what's the problem now? They cannot connect. Each functional director cannot connect with whom? Every region. What are the problems? Conflicts, poor communication, repetition of data, and poor psychology. You don't meet people, you don't talk to people. If you don't communicate with people, you think they're bad guys. That's a normal thing. But if you meet them regularly, you discuss, you know their needs, you understand their ideas, you know the body language, no problem. Company can move forward with goal congruence. So what's our recommendation? A matrix structure connecting everybody with everybody. Very important. And also recommending the structure I mentioned earlier. IT, there's no separate department. Recommend a separate IT division, a head of an IT or a IT director. Please get a strategic person with IT background. Need not be from the same industry. You don't need to do that mistake like a normal business development director. Get an IT man who knows IT. You don't need him to be in the newspaper business. He should be in what business? Global information business. The person should be able to track internet like this. Know the blogs, know the sites, get you moving. Very important. We need specialists. We need the family to step down and open the eyes on the specialist. Issue number 10, mission and objectives. Issue number 10, mission and objectives. What is the mission of the company? If you look at that, there's no mission. They have a big statement saying we provide information. Not enough. Everybody provide information. They say we provide trust. We can engage with the community. We are ethical. Those are blind statements. So in the exam, you will be asked to develop a mission or look at limitations of the mission or explain how to use the mission into strategic decision making. So I've developed a mission, something like this, to enlighten the people by providing latest and accurate information. How is that? Wow, it's different? Oh yes, it is different. What is the meaning of the word enlighten? See, no longer information is valid, no longer news is valid. Everybody provides news about Cristiano Ronaldo. Everybody prints news. We need to enlighten, meaning somebody reading a paper, somebody getting to your website should get that X factor, that additional information, that edge, that driving force where he knows the stuff. Oh yes, I know that. This is why Cristiano Ronaldo couldn't score. How do you know that? I know that. That's what the people want. Everybody knows Ronaldo didn't score, but people might not know why and what's the reason. You know that. That's why our information, what FNG Group provide to the people, should enable the reader to develop a strategic competitive advantage. That's why I use the word enlighten. Don't provide news, we need to differentiate. And also the case study has provided us objectives. Big problem when you look at them. You know from your earlier studies, objectives should be what? Very good. Smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and time bound. But the case study objectives are not measurable. So you need to develop measures in the exam. We have given KPIs. Mind you, those KPIs are not strong. So be prepared to develop a mission, redefine the mission, limitations of the mission, limitations of the objectives, develop better objectives which are smart, develop KPI which facilitate decision making, and don't forget mission and objective, meaning whoever runs the company should be given targets and everybody should be accountable. Remember that. That's the whole purpose of the mission, not just to have a fancy brilliant statement. The mission should define the good purpose of the organization and should drive people for decision making, and they should be accountable. Very important. Issue number 11 is new product development. Very important. For the last 130 plus years, we hardly developed anything new, and our last acquisition happened when? Good. In 1992. Can you believe it? For the last 26 years, nothing new. That's what I want, leadership change. That's what I want, structural change. Plus, we need new products. Still, we are local. What's the problem? No problem. But you, the new generation, are not interested in what? Local news. You are interested in what? Global news. Internet has made the world a smaller place now. The whole village, the world is a village now. Meaning, these are the issues. We need a national newspaper. Surprise! For 130 plus years, we still don't have a national newspaper. You need to start printing magazines. You might be thinking, why you are printing? It's interesting. It looks nice. Look at new target market. Look at demographics. Don't restrict to traditional news. People like to talk about health. Are people concerned about health? Oh yes, they really want. What about a health magazine? What about a fashion magazine? What about a tech magazine? What about a magazine about mobile devices? Magazine about smartphones? Magazine about smartwatches? You name it. That's what the people want. Segment the market. Introduce something new. Then use paywall technology. I mentioned earlier, we don't earn any money from the internet. We only earn advertising revenue. Introduce subscription based. That's what most of the websites do, like Financial Times. If you want more, you can pay and get connected. And then introduce new printing facilities. And most importantly, the case study talks about an area. What's that? Very good. Event management. Most of the media companies now manage events. Why? They have access to information, they have access to printing, and they are very good in organizing it. Plus, this will enable your staff to have more job security and earn more income. Very important. Issue number 12 is big data. What is big data? That is the larger volume of information available for an organization. What's the problem with larger volume? No problem, but you need to process that. How many digital consumers do we have? 10 million. So do you know about them? You don't. We still have the local mindset, thinking you sell the newspaper to Tom, Dick and Harry. No, you don't. You don't know who's reading it. That's why it's very important to segment the market, identify demographics. For that you need big data. Another new development in the world is data analytics. Examiner is always interested with new things. So be prepared for data analytics. That means analyzing big data, data mining techniques. They will test database management and how to use database management for strategic decision making. Main thing is analyze competition, analyze the trend, identify loss-making units, discontinue certain newspaper titles, analyze the revenue, analyze advertising revenue based on each newspaper, analyze journalists based on their publications, make everybody accountable. And that's why we have big data. Issue number 13 is stakeholders. Definitely it will be tested, and don't be surprised if you get a brand new stakeholder. Who is that? Maybe a venture capitalist. You know this case study. You don't know who owns the 40%. I repeat, founding family owns how much? Very good, 60%. Remaining 40% we don't know. So be prepared. It can be a venture capitalist. Maybe they want to sell the stake. Maybe the founding family feels it's enough now. Why? They'll step down. You see throughout the world, when the families extend, father, 2 kids, now grandkids, 3 families, 5 families, 10 families. They are married to different segments in society. The latter, the 4th generation, is not interested in things. They see the asset, they see the land. Why should I kill myself, sell this land and get millions? It's happening throughout the world. The latter generation see easy money. They look at a building and think, oh, it's very expensive. I'll sell this land and I'll leave a fortune, and maybe I live in Switzerland. Because of that, business is declining. Nobody in the market now is prepared to give the additional bit, sweat, or give 100%. Have that desire. No, they see wealth. Why don't I use the wealth? They never invest. I repeat, what are the two key things you need to survive? Innovation and investment. So clearly, stakeholders will be tested, bank will appear, venture capitalists will appear, maybe an IPO, maybe new player might come, maybe a large company will be interested. What comes to your mind now? Very good. Mandela matrix will be tested. Be prepared to face Mandela matrix. Very, very important. Issue number 14, mergers and acquisitions. It is now or never. You will see in the exam, there will be an opportunity for a merger and an opportunity for an acquisition, but sadly we don't have that much of finance. So maybe a merger, maybe with a company. Very good. Remember, always in a merger, the key thing is to focus on the strength of the other player. What are our strength? We were there for more than 130 years, meaning we have a reputation, we have brand image, we have printing facility, we have access to market, and we have trust. What we don't have is innovation, creativity, knowledge on the market, and IT. So why not merge with a company which is new, which is young, only 5 years old, pioneered by IT guys from Harvard, pioneered by tech Greeks. They are good in IT, they don't know business. Combine. And don't forget to focus on limitations of mergers and post-merger value enhancement. Key area that will be tested. Post-merger value enhancement. Issue number 15, substitutes. Very important. And you will be surprised in this exam, substitute will become the main product and main product will become a substitute. I repeat, what are substitutes? Internet and online publications. What is the main product? Print publication. But now, as I told you, what is right is not what I say, what is right is not what you say, what is right is not what the company is saying, what is right is what the public is saying, what the consumers are saying. So they don't read printed papers, they read from their laptop, they read online. Where do you see moment a person get into a train these days? What do? They are not interested with the location, they are not interested with the surrounding. They sit down, they get the laptop, they look at it, or they get the phone. That's it. That's their life. So that's why substitutes like online, like Twitter, like YouTube, like Facebook has taken over. So we need to develop a clear strategy to counterattack this threat, plus appoint a team to develop a clear social media strategy, clear web-based technology, Web 2 technology strategy, shifting from the core business. I repeat, substitutes will take over and core business will disappear. So we need a clear strategy to manage the IT revolution, especially what? Social media. Appoint a manager responsible for social media marketing. Very important. Issue number 16, human resource management. Very important topic. At the moment you see our cost is very high. We have so many people, local journalists, rewrite journalists and editors. Nobody sees to focus on the business. Our directors are sleeping. They didn't introduce anything new from when? Very good. From 1992. And only in 2010 they thought of going into online. Can you believe it? Internet commenced in 1990s. We were late. And not only that, our strategy is ad hoc. We need new people. And also, examiner would like you to introduce what? Very good. Performance related pay. No point having staff, having a traditional system. Give them accountability, give them responsibility, and for each journalist, pay based on the articles. Give them recognition based on the awards they win, which is important. So that's why HR should be dynamic. Introduce flexible working hours, introduce flexible places. We have 30 offices. Maybe we need to close them. Few. Why? You can work from home. Look at my programs. I'm somewhere else in the world. You're somewhere else in the world. Doesn't matter. We are connected through technology. Traditional classrooms are gone. They disappear. Why? The transport, travel is expensive. Plus you don't have time. Plus, why not use this modern technology where you manage your life and I manage my life, but we combine for a better purpose. And it's convenient. So that's why it's very important to have people to be freelance, to work from home, to be flexible and get the best out of it. Don't worry about recruiting a journalist and paying a fixed salary. Let the best journalists in the world stay in Spain. Let the best journalist in the world stay in America and you can stay in Poland and still you get that person's service. Just a matter of sending an email. That's all. Get the best photographer working for you. Where is he? He's in Ecuador. But tell him to take a brilliant picture and send it back. Maybe the best journalist in Russia. Tell him to write an article. We'll translate it and publish about the World Cup. That's the way to move forward. So traditional HR is not effective anymore. We need to change. We need to make it dynamic. And don't forget, yes, performance related pay. Issue number 17, management of change or change management. Definitely will be tested. Why? 100 plus years we haven't changed. Still the family values, still the printing, and 78% of revenue coming from traditional printing. We must change. But most importantly, remember, most of the companies in the modern world try to introduce change. You know this, it's in your office. Your office is the same. Try to introduce change without changing management. So the same CEO, same chairman, same decision makers, get a consultant, do some change. No, no, no. You should change, my friend. Knock, knock, knock. You should change. So remember, you need to introduce change management. You need to change the structure. You need to change the leadership. You need to change the present method. You can't keep the same structure, same leader, and change to few people, or change a computer, or introduce a new marketing plan. It doesn't work like that. Change meaning a complete change. Then the examiner will test what? Very good. Resistance to change will be tested. Very important. Don't forget Kotta and Schlesinger, but don't worry about all steps. Focus on education, communication, participation, involvement, and facilitation and support. Those three are enough. And also don't forget E3, Kurt Lewin, change management process, force field analysis of Kurt Lewin. You need to do a lot of unfreezing here because management is freeze for how many years? More than 100 years. So change management is the way forward. Change the structure as well. Issue number 18, management control. Very important topic. You see throughout the case study, they talk about only one thing. What's that? Cost reduction. And I see it everywhere in most of the companies, even which I work with, talk about cost reduction, cost reduction. They fail to understand to reduce cost, you need to have a base. So you need to focus on revenue generation. Don't talk only about cost. People are tired. You talk about cost reduction, overheads, cost cutting. You look at meetings. Most of the company meetings starts with cost reduction, cost. Look at the numbers. No, reduce this. No, friend, stop. Look at other measures. Are your customers happy? Are the customers satisfied? Did you do anything better than your competitors to satisfy the customer? Forget about cost. If you satisfy the customer, naturally you get the revenue. Forget about cost. Customer will give you everything. Did you innovate? Did you do something new? How is your internal business? Did you change? We have no time. Why? We are reducing cost. Did you respect people? Did you invest in them? Did you recognize? No. So this is what you need to look at beyond cost. You need to look at value. What do you call it? Value-based management. What comes to your mind now? Very good. Balanced scorecard. Remember in the exam to recommend beyond cost. Cost reduction is important. That's why financial perspective is at the top of the balanced scorecard. Remember, it's very important to reduce the cost, but not at the expense of what? Very good. Customer satisfaction. Strike a balance. Focus on innovation. That's the key. Cost will take care of itself as long as customer is paying for you. Remember that. And the customer will only pay if the customer is happy. Issue number 19, industry analysis. Not a very good topic, you know why. Throughout the case they talk about decline. Last 10 years, 50% of newspaper circulation decline. And if you see, companies are declining. Some companies in the case study, like Noncia Group, are going to completely stop their printing. Guardian newspaper in the UK completely stopped printing last year. They are fully digital now. Most of the global papers are reducing the print version, go to online, go to mobile applications. And also you see redundancies in TJ Group in the case study. So in the future, it's all about consolidation. Be prepared to consolidate. I don't mind mergers, strategic alliance, develop a partnership with a global company, develop a joint venture with a company which has a better IT facility. Move forward. Don't stay in the same place. That's a big problem with FNG Group. Issue number 20 is future strategy. I will look at two things for this company. Only two for future strategy. Number one, revenue generation. Number two, cost reduction. First is revenue generation. Clearly you need new products. You need a management change. You need innovation. You need to go beyond this local town mentality, country mentality, county mentality. No, you shift from that to national and global. Introduce a national newspaper. Why not a global newspaper? Well, don't try to give everything to the world. Maybe a global a newspaper on fashion, global newspaper on health, online only. Maybe you can say health today, global health today. People will love it. Think beyond the box. Look at the future. Look at the young people today. Look at the people who are 5-year-old today. Why? In 10 years time, they are your key customers. Look at people who are 10 today. In 10 years time, they provide 80% of your revenue. Don't look at a person who is 60 years old today. He has provided you revenue when? Good. 30 years ago, when reading the printed newspaper. They were good, they were smart, but the modern world has changed. So, what I look at is, when I look at the future, I look at my kids. That's the best way to look at the future. What they want is the future of the world, not you want or not your grandfather wanted. So that's the future strategy number 1. Revenue generation through what? Innovation, relationships, new products. Number 2, cost reduction. Oh yes, you need cost reduction, but the present management did nothing from 1992, did nothing in 2010, did nothing in the last 10 years. I repeat, in the last 10 years, revenue was dropping, newspaper circulation was dropping, profit was dropping, dividends was dropping, everything was dropping. Management is not doing anything. They try to reduce cost, but they maintain massive structures and they maintain a bureaucracy. You must shake this structure and change the bureaucracy. You need a structural change. You need to make it transparent, and that's the way forward. Very, very important. Go through these 20 issues. You can log into a4study.com for additional information, and good luck with your examination. Thank you.